Breaking news! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Standards of Geekness podcast page. I'd be remiss if I didn't try to do that. My name is Evan Jones, aka Easy E.
And I am Brian Mercer, the one, the only. But Evan, tonight is a special night.
It's a very special night because you guys saw this new intro. And we might as well lean right into it and lead with it. The podcast is going to be kind of going through some more changes. So while wrestling is kind of what brought us together and brought us to the dance with podcasting, um, we want to explore more when it comes to beyond just wrestling. We still love wrestling, but there's so many more topics that we know about. There's so many more topics that we're passionate about. We're going to be looking at exploring everything from comic books, hint, hint, movies, maybe doing like a watch along, maybe doing a top, you know, 5 or 10 Christmas movie lists of all time. Just kind of doing things like fun things like that. Sports, we're looking at, between our sports passions and bringing on somebody who's an actual sports expert, having them participate as part of the podcast. Video games, as we've already been doing, card gaming, stuff like that. We think it's time for the podcast to fully embrace up. The D&D has been super successful. We're really enjoying it and having a lot of fun. It's kind of given us reinvigorated the podcast, I feel like, in a little way.
And so, with that, we will be officially christening our podcast now as News for Nerds.
News for Nerds. I know many of you are probably like, oh, we love the Standards of Geekness, and we love the Standards of Geekness too. The thing is, ultimately, it's still going to be the same thing. It's Brian and I and whoever else is on here shooting the shit, talking about what we love about it, and reality about things sometimes too. Yeah, I'm just super excited, man.
Me too, man. I think this is a great direction for us to go. And for anyone who might be worried, we will still be occasionally taking a look at wrestling because we do still love wrestling. So don't think that wrestling is completely going away. We are still going to touch on that at times. But yeah, we are going to be looking at a whole plethora of other topics. And that means that if you are a geek, a nerd, a dweeb, a degenerate out there, and you got something that you want to hear us talk about, then let us know down below in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And as always, thank you. And make sure tonight, after the podcast is done, to go to duelingguard.com. Use the code SOG25. That will still work to get you to get you 15% off. Of all your gaming merchandise. I'm just so psyched, man. I'm just so pumped.
I really am too, and there's just a lot of things we could be doing and I'm excited for a lot of what we're going to be doing. Let's jump right into it. I mean, we'd be remiss without talking about the GOAT. We've been running the greatest of all time wrestlers tournament, with you, the fans, voting, with us voting. It's just been a lot of fun, a lot of shocking things. But after tonight's results, we're going to be down to our final four.
Even before we get to the final four, because you and I have already talked and previewed this a little bit. I have to say that I am both shocked and somehow elated that these are our final four. That these are our last two matches in the GOAT tournament, or our last, our semifinals.
Yeah, we're heading into the home stretch here. Without further ado, Sting defeated Mick Foley. The Heartbreak Kid defeated Owen Hart in a pretty lopsided affair. Ric Flair with a clean sweep over CM Punk. And then, in what shocked me, Undertaker defeated Stone Cold. There's a debate to be had here. It's longevity versus impact, in my opinion, is the main argument. You could argue that Undertaker's longevity gave him a wider berth of impact. But you could also argue without Stone Cold, there's no Attitude Era. The WWE doesn't win the Monday Night Wars. Undertaker doesn't take off as a talent, basically, because of that. So, it's kind of a symbiotic relationship. But, thank you guys for voting. The final four matches, it's going to be Sting versus Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker.
So these are not only two great matches, but two classic matches, man. Like these are Sting and Ric Flair. We'll start there. These two were the mainstays of WCW. As a matter of fact, the very last match of WCW Monday Nitro was Sting versus Ric Flair. They headlined the main event of the final show. They tore down the house for the world title more times than I can count.
They defined like wrestling in WCW for like a long time. You know, I'd argue it's Sting and Steamboat that are Flair's two top rivals. You know, I put Hogan at number 3, just because it's just natural to compare the top talents in the territories against each other. But yeah, I'm super pumped that we're in the final home stretch because it means I don't have to post polls anymore, at least for a little bit.
Let's talk about this
I'm
other
sure
match. Let's talk about this other match too, man. Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
WrestleMania 25, WrestleMania 26, Bad Blood.
Now, before the pod started, you and I were talking about this a little bit. One of my favorite matches of all time is the WrestleMania 25 match between Undertaker and Michaels. You were saying that 26 is the one that you gravitate more towards.
I found it more emotionally compelling given the stakes. I felt 25 it was a better technical match, but I felt like 26 was a more complete story.
Now, I'm curious. 27 and 28 also added to that story. 27 with the battle with Triple H, and then more so 28 in the Hell in a Cell match. What do you think about the end of an era match? In conjunction with those first two.
I mean, I hate when WWE or any company uses end of an era and it's not actually the end of an era, because Taker wrestled for like 7 more fucking Manias after that. And end of an era would imply that they're all done. So fuck you for lying. But I think there's an impact. I just think that it's kind of comparing apples to tomatoes, if that makes sense. It's, you know, very different matches. You know, Shawn versus Taker was a rivalry that was emotionally charged. Their story had been dating back to, I mean, what, 94, 95?
94.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new generation time frame.
Yeah.
And like with Triple H, Triple H was around then, but Triple H and Taker's rivalry has always been kind of B tier in my opinion. So I don't think it took away from it, but I don't think it added as much as a lot of people think. I think there's a lot of rose-colored glasses when it comes to that whole time frame. When it comes to that,
see, when I think of Taker and Triple H, it's funny because like that was one of the I was there for 27. I saw that one live, but still the one I think of is actually 17. If I'm gonna watch Taker versus Triple H, I want to watch WrestleMania 17.
Yeah, it's
27
better.
20.
It's just a way better match in terms of work rate too. And the story was just way better. And we try to not mention WrestleMania 2000 Fatal 4-Ways, but it's one of those things where you never know what you're going to get within an era. Talent comes and goes, especially during that time. I think it's really interesting, the dichotomy we get between their relationships, and it's really interesting to see how their relationships have impacted future storytelling too.
Well, everyone get out there and vote. We got the semifinals here. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, Sting versus Ric Flair. We're heading into the finals of the GOAT. Who's going to be?
I mean, Shawn versus Rick. Sting
You got a
versus
prediction
Taker.
right now? Sting versus Taker. Could you imagine? Could you imagine after all this time, after everything, after all these years, the way that we finally get Sting versus The Undertaker is in the finals of the GOAT tournament?
You're gonna hate me.
Justice. That would be justice.
You're gonna hate me. But I kind of had an idea, but I'll talk to you off screen about it.
Oh no! Oh no! What are you? No! You're gonna make me do it? You're gonna make me do it? Daniel Roberts is somewhere just choking on a chicken nugget right now. He is so excited.
I think if we're gonna do it, I think we'll talk off air.
All right, we'll
put a pin in
talk
it,
off that. We will talk
because I don't want to
off
put you on
air
the
about
spot.
that. You can't spring this on me live.
It's an idea that popped into my head, and you know my ADHD, I just blurt out shit.
Throw something at you through the computer screen.
It's not Demise OTK again, god damn it. The trauma. Yeah. Yes, yeah, I am. Yeah, I mean, if I was to give a prediction right now, I think any which way you go is good. I'm waiting for the next comment to be new kink unlocked.
Oh my god! Can I? You know, we got Daniel on here. Can I share a geek story? We're changing the format. I know we didn't plan this.
Go for it. I need to refill my drink real quick because I didn't realize it was short.
You know, we've been doing this whole Dungeons and Dragons reformat recently here on the Standards of Geekness channel. And,
oh no!
One of the interesting things that came to light, and I can't wait for him to start commenting once I start telling the story, was that Daniel has actually never played Dungeons and Dragons before, and didn't really understand, you know, what Dungeons and Dragons was and how it worked and everything. And so I'm just like kind of sitting there. I'm sitting there on like chat with him, Facebook chat, and I'm like, well, you know, I've played enough D&D that I can kind of like DM just a little session. And so like I came up with this like little idea in my head of a Dungeons of like a Dungeons and Dragons session. Like
maybe just don't make bad decisions, Dan.
And my idea was that like I'm like, oh well, Daniel's he's from England, so like what if I set up like a little James Bond, you know, spy scenario for him? And well, you know, the whole idea is that like you're gonna investigate and you're gonna ask some questions and you're gonna get sent out on this adventure. Like that's how a D&D adventure normally starts. What I could not have ever predicted was in this scenario that I had set up for Dan, where he like basically wakes up in a drunken stupor in a bar and like he was gonna I was expecting him to like you know, ask the bartender some questions and get, you know, sent on his mission. Instead, Dan decided to start a fight with the bartender. I never would have thought that I would have been rolling initiative with him, that he would have made the choice to punch the bartender in the dick, or that realizing that he might be in trouble with the law, that he would throw himself through a plate glass window. The moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, is ask the DM if there's a door, because there was a door right next to the window. He could have just walked out. Dan managed to knock himself unconscious, took all his hit points all the way down to -1, and was unconscious by the end of this encounter. And I'm just like sitting there shaking my head, like, how how did this happen? How did we get here? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you never go full Daniel.
You never go full Daniel. We should put that on a T-shirt. You never go full Daniel.
You never go full Daniel. It needs to be
Dungeons and
like a chicken nugget with you never go full Daniel written on it.
yeah, I was looking around options for T-shirts and stuff like that for fun merchandise ideas, especially with the D&D stuff. I was thinking, yeah, you would have died to the eels. I was thinking Dungeons and Daddies would be a fun thing because I just think it'd be hilarious with the little logo. Turns out that's an actual podcast out there I've been watching lately. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, Never Go Full Daniel might have to be our first, once I set it up, actual official T-shirt.
Yeah.
And I think that's a life lesson for everybody. Just like a life lesson is to make sure you visit duelingguard.com, enter the code SOG15 for your 15% off. Without further ado, let's jump into Saturday Night Main Event results. We're not going to bother with SmackDown Friday. Raw felt really underwhelming to me last night. I'm getting New Generation early Ruthless Aggression era vibes, and I'm not super keen on it right now. So
even in Saturday Night's Main Event, let's be realistic. You had 4 matches, 2 of them matter.
Yeah. Well, it pissed me off. Could you imagine being a paying customer and only getting 4 matches? On a PLE?
I think I would be okay. No, I think I could be okay with 4 matches that are televised, but no, I would definitely be expecting to have some dark matches on the show. And
something.
And also, if you're only going to put 4 matches on the show, those need to be like some really high quality matches, because I think what part of what is being lost in modern WWE is part of Vince McMahon's mentality was that every show should be a variety show. And what that concept was, there should be a little bit of something for everybody in every show. Nobody's going to like everything, but everybody's going to like something. Like, that was the mentality. That was the idea. And when you only have 4 matches, you're really limiting what people have the opportunity to like. And there's a lot more that you have the ability to dislike. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and show it.
No, I was an image I forgot to load earlier. So yeah, no, I definitely agree. I agree with you. The pricing of the families, because like these guys paid I think $250 per ticket for the cheap seats for Saturday Night Main Event. And I think part of one of our topics for the week is why is WWE's audience share shrinking? I think there's a combination of things. We've touched on some of it in the past. I kind of want to recircle back around to some things, and that image is related to that. So without further ado, we'll get to that in later, but we'll do the actual results. Cody Rhodes defeated Drew McIntyre.
I'm shocked. I'm just shocked.
If there was ever a point to put the belt,
would this happen?
If there was ever a point to put the belt on Drew and get it off Cody to at least keep this fresh, this was it. At this point, I don't see Cody losing that belt till Mania.
Nope. And that just feels like
it's a waste. It's you become predictable. You become Vince.
I think this idea that the belt needs to have these super long reigns is kind of played out. Like, it's really cool. The whole thing about reigns, like CM Punk's long reign or Roman Reigns' reign, Lesnar had a pretty decent long one. The whole idea behind those that makes them so cool and so unique is that it doesn't happen often. Like, the idea that somebody could hold the title for a year plus should be a novelty. This is a business where it's crazy. The Attitude Era, the time when the industry had its biggest boom, the time we all look back uh, on with the most fondness, some of that needs to be analyzed a little bit better because legitimately we look back now and there's a lot of that program that we look at as just straight up cringe. And yet we still have a fondness for that time period. What was good about it? Part of what was really great about that time period was the fact that the world title was defended almost weekly on Raw.
Yeah, and it mattered, and it drove the narrative forward, and it wasn't predictable. Like
And
they kept it fresh.
you also had the title changing hands
Mm-hmm.
on Raw, on Nitro, on SmackDown.
And then it would
I
change
mean,
back the next week.
Mick Foley. Mick Foley won his first world championship on Raw. And if you don't know the story, that's the night that changed the whole narrative for the
Mm-hmm.
Monday Night War. So maybe, just maybe, it's a good idea to, not always, because you don't want it to be like this constant thing, but in the same way that you need that, oh, maybe this champion could hold the title for years and years. It's insanely important to have the idea that anything could happen on any given night, and that's why it's important to tune in.
Well, and I honestly, I think that's why both of Cody Rhodes' reigns have been super predictable since he's won the belt. Like it is, he gets beat down, he overcomes. He gets beat down, he overcomes. I'm tired of it. He doesn't need the belt at this point. He's a made man. He's a superstar. Drew could have done a lot more with that, and I think it would have benefited Drew. At this point, Drew shouldn't sniff the world title for a long ass time. He's fought for it how many times for both different titles
And
and came
lost
up short.
every Yep.
He needs to go back down chasing IC US titles. Make that matter then. If that's seriously how you view him, he's a main guy no matter where you put him. He's over.
You know,
Honestly, I kind of wonder if it was a mistake for him to resign.
I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, how there's kind of this feeling that there's like main eventers and there's super main eventers,
Nope.
and
He's a main eventer. He's just not a
he's just
super main eventer.
unfortunately, yeah, he's just a main eventer.
And it's wild to say that when you think about it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense in terms
like-
of like story narrative, and it cheapens everything because okay, so what happens when Drew or sorry, when Cody or Roman aren't there, and now you have to have the title on a Drew McIntyre or on a Jey Uso or on these guys who aren't super main eventers, but they're still main eventers. Like at that point, it just feels like we're placeholding for when we get the real champions back.
Yeah, and it's the same situation we were in with Lesnar holding the title and not being there every week. Mm-hmm. Same fucking situation from 2013 till 2019, 2020.
Well, there's so many ways that so I was thinking about this. We had talked to Dan about the Wyatt Six and how to make the Wyatt Six interesting. And I was thinking about it, and I know this is crazy. Wait till you hear this. So I was thinking about this, and you know what they could have done? I don't think you can do it now, but like retro, in a what if kind of universe. Imagine if the Wyatt Six, if Uncle Howdy would have tried to get into the head of Cody Rhodes, and
I think that would have been great.
And you do this whole thing where you're not going for Uncle Howdy to win the title, but Uncle Howdy's mind games are what disrupts the status quo enough to get the title off of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you have me sold. I think that would have been fun. Honestly, like, as looking back at the Hogan versus Dungeon of Doom shit, it's cringy as fuck. But at the time, it kept Hogan from being booed. And my concern now was Super Cody is you're gonna reach the point where people are gonna start booing him. They did it in AEW. They're gonna start doing it in WWE eventually. And I don't want that for Cody Rhodes. He's a tremendous talent. He deserves better than that. He is a good wrestler. I just think that they have creatively become bankrupt when it comes to him.
Well,
They
I
just
think
ran out of ideas.
I think you
And that's sad.
legitimately had a really good story to run on, um, for him to win the championship. Like
Yeah,
the lead up
absolutely.
into him winning the title was great. But the problem that I think you ultimately faced was, in that whole part of what made that story so great is that, like, it was a really clear definition of, here's the baby face, here's our good guy, who we're all going to get behind for multiple reasons, legacy and uh, history, and then over here's Roman, and he's a really great villain and a really great antagonist to Cody, and to have that uh, villain if you don't have a hero, if you don't have a villain, then you don't really have a hero. And the problem is ever since Cody won the title, he hasn't really had a villain.
Well, like they tried to make Cena be the villain,
Well,
but
they
all that
they
shit,
tried to
all
make
that shit
they
with The
tried to
Rock.
make Cena the villain. They tried to make Solo the villain. They tried to
They've
make
tried everybody.
Drew the villain. They tried to make Seth the villain. They tried to make KO the villain. They've tried to make plenty of people the villain. But the problem is they are doing it all on a superficial level, and they're
Mm-hmm.
not actually like doing this deep seed thing to give it the roots that it needs to have a good story.
Honestly, if WWE hadn't let him go, the perfect person to try to really get this out of Cody would have been Samoa Joe.
Oh yeah.
Like a certified killer. And part of me, honestly, at this point, the way they're booking things, would not be shocked if Brock Lesnar ends up facing Cody at Mania.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that, but that just more sounds like typical WWE lazy booking.
Oh, well, wait till you. I don't know. I don't know if you've heard, but apparently they have decided to announce that at this year's Royal Rumble there will be no surprises. And I'm like, isn't
That
that ruining the whole event?
that takes away from.
That's the whole majesty gone.
Wait, so no surprise. So we're gonna know the
That's what
full.
that was what
We're
was
gonna know
being
the full
reported.
list. I'm gonna know who's entering at number 5 before the show ever
I don't know if
starts.
we'll know the numbers, but I think we're gonna know everybody involved. And
I
to me, it's
mean,
fucking hot garbage. And it's part of why
so
I'm struggling with
I'm
wrestling
I'm
right
of the
now.
opinion I'm of the opinion that, like, okay, if we're gonna have a 30 man Royal Rumble, right? I am totally cool with you giving me 23 of those names, 25 of those names.
There should always
And
be a surprise.
I want like 5 spots that are left open for a comeback, a legend entrance, something. You know what I mean?
Comedy entrance, something. Give me
Yeah.
Titus World Slide, something different.
I mean, because those are the moments that really make Royal Rumbles great. I mean, you remember? I can't remember exactly which Royal Rumble it was, but it can't, the only two guys in the ring are Santino Marella and Mick Foley, and they both got the socks on their hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
Like
was
that kind of stuff. Those
yeah,
little moments that, like, obviously neither of these guys are gonna win, but this is a great just moment in this match, and the fact that this is the only match that can have moments like that.
yeah. And to me, it just screams lazy and selfish because you're taking the majesty of what made the Royal Rumble special and you're removing it from the equation. If you're going to tell me all 30 people that are involved in this match, and I'm going to be able to predict who's going to win based off of what you tell me, you've ruined the Royal Rumble at that point, and I won't buy it. I'll literally just go read the recap. Like you've
There-
ruined it.
yeah, it's always a special thing to be like, oh, you know, Kevin Nash came back this year. You know, oh look, you know,
My God, it's Batista.
yeah, but yeah, exactly. You know, you never know who it's gonna be, but you know, just as an example, with all the stuff WWE's been doing with TNA this
Joe
year,
Hendry.
Joe Hendry would be one, or like I could totally see Dolph Ziggler or
Yeah,
Santino Marella coming back just for the Royal Rumble.
have the Hardys come back.
There you go.
Fucking have the Dudleys and the Hardys in the match. Fuck. I mean, we don't know what's going on with Edge. Maybe he could come back. Um,
Okay. So I'm just gonna add. I'm gonna give you the hot take question right now because I know that this has been asked a lot. It's been being discussed a lot on the internet. So I'm just gonna ask you. I know my take on it. I know my answer to this. If you want to ask me, but what do you think? Edge versus Cena in Cena's last match?
if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have been super excited for it. Looking at the landscape now and how everything's played out, I would rather it be somebody like Dirty Dom or Braun Breaker. Build the future forward. I like the idea of a 16-person tournament where they're going to be earning it because you can have people in from TNA like Joe Hendry and Matt Cardona and Dolph Ziggler who some have history with Cena
Matt
in these
Cardona
matches.
is one that I'd really like to see in that tournament. And I
Yeah,
think actually that would be cool to have Matt Cardona in that tournament because it actually gives an interesting litmus test to the
bringing him back.
you know to bring him back. Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a lot of us that have wanted to see Matt Cardona, and I want to make sure that I'm being clear about that. To see Matt Cardona in WWE, not Zack Ryder.
So I'm you being a huge KO fan that you are. I'm sure you watched the Cody Rhodes and him interview where
Yeah,
he talked about the whole, for a guy who says he loves the fucking indies, he sure does talk about the WWE a hell of a lot. And like, yeah, it's because that was his dream. Like, from what I've read and what I've heard from him on his podcast, he was a kid that had childhood cancer. He overcame it. He's a huge wrestling fan, and it was his life dream. And he was there forever, and it got taken from him. I think it would be a beautiful story to have him come back. He doesn't have to win the world championship. Have him come back and win the U.S. title or the IC title at some point. He's in his late 30s, early 40s.
all right, so let me give you another question because I have an opinion about this too, but and that might not be what you think. Do you think Brock Lesnar should be in the 16-man tournament to fate for who faces Cena as his last opponent?
No, because if Brock versus Cena the last time would have been more competitive, I could have seen an argument for that. I don't think Brock being in there serves a purpose because Brock's already beaten Cena. What does he need to be in the tournament for? Number one. Number two, who in that tournament's going to stop Brock fucking Lesnar? I'm pretty sure it's going to be revealed that Brock's going to be the leader, the new leader of the Vision. But
Really,
like,
it's not going to be Logan Paul with his Knucks of Doom. There's actually just legitimately. Whoa.
oh, you get one tonight.
No. You and I both know that a few months ago we were both discussing the Logan Paul actually does make sense in the Vision.
Yes, not leading it though. That was my caveat. Was not leading it.
I know.
I know. I made that specific caveat because Dan brought up having Logan Paul being involved as a leader.
So, I actually disagree with you. You know, I'm not a Brock Lesnar fan by any stretch of the imagination, but anytime that he's there and we're going to use him or use anybody, I want to use them right. And so I actually disagree with you. I think that Brock Lesnar should be in the 16-man tournament, and I think he should make it to the finals and lose to whoever
So,
you're. to whoever you're going to have face Cena in Cena's final match.
So
This gives whoever it is a huge push into that final match. It doesn't have to be a clean win over Lesnar.
so I have a thought. The only way I'm okay with this is if it's Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed beating him. Someone that's a heavy hitter, super heavyweight, or a big dude that's on par with him that could be the next big thing. That could get that rub from Lesnar and then that rub from Cena. I would prefer it was Braun Breaker. If you had asked me today who my top 3 choices to face John Cena in his final match are, number 1 is Dirty Dom.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you. That's still my number 1, especially after that promo with Ray last week.
Number 2, Braun Breaker. And as much as I dislike the douchebag, number 3, I think Austin Theory.
That's interesting. Austin Theory is an interesting one.
I would
really like to see them do something interesting with Austin Theory at this point.
I feel like with him, it's kind of a shit or get off the pot thing, and like they're doing stuff with Grayson Waller. You could send Austin Theory to Raw or SmackDown, one of the two, whichever show that Grayson's not on. You can send Theory to the other one. For me, with him, it's a shit or get off the pot thing.
Yeah.
Because he's been there how long? And he's extremely talented. And Dan, you're fucking mid card.
I think there's a lot of cool things you can do with Austin Theory. I think that he had kind of that Vince McMahon push him to the moon stink on him. You know, the same thing that happened with Cena, the same thing that happened with Roman, the same thing that happened with a lot of guys. I really think that, you know, because he was pushed the way he was, specifically by McMahon, that that made it hard to stomach. But I think I agree with you. I think he's a very talented wrestler. I think he just needs to find a niche that will work for him a little bit better than what he was doing previously. And I don't think that the right answer is just to put him in a tag team. I think that waters him down.
Absolutely agree. Like, for me, it's one of those things where Dan thinks he's invincible behind the keyboard. You just lost 1,000 gold stars, Dan.
2,000.
Get fucked. But yeah, I mean, I think it serves better to build the future forward. I don't think Gunther needs it. I'm gonna be really pissed if it's Gunther, because he's already been a world champ. He's been had dominant IC champ reign. He doesn't need the rub. Another option I think would be really interesting is to have John Cena beat. You know, if they have Survivor Series be John Cena versus Dom, which I don't think that is. I think they're doing Ray versus versus Dom, if I'm correct, or if I remember correctly. But have John Cena beat Dominic and have Sheamus face John in his final match. I think that could be interesting.
Sheamus, and by the way, John, it's a tables match
for the IC title. Well, no, think about it. Like they both haven't won the IC title, so if he beats Dom, Cena checks off Grand Slam. And then Sheamus beats Cena, checks off Grand Slam. On that promo segment with Ray was really, really good. They did on Raw last night. That was honestly my favorite part of Raw.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way I see that happening is they're going to do probably like Ray versus Dominic for the IC title at Survivor Series. Dominic will cheat to win. They'll do probably a hair versus mask match at some point in AAA. I think for the AAA Mania title. You could do that at WrestleMania too. There's a million. Chad Gable's out injured. El Grande Americano would be a really interesting choice if you're going to have that be John Cena's final opponent. It would be weird, but I'm more
Dude,
okay
I
with
think it'd
that
be
than
hilarious.
Brock or
Dude,
Gunther.
if it's Dom, I think it'd be hilarious if Dom comes out first. Cena's music is, and Cena comes out wearing the El Grande Americano mask. I think that'd be hilarious.
Juan Cena is now El
Juan
Grande
Cena.
Cena. Oh
Okay.
man. Let's get
Well,
back on topic. Saturday night main event results. Cody defeated Drew. Jade Cargill squashed Tiffany. Seen a lot of belly aching about that online. Tiffany had a 300 plus day reign as women's world champ on a cash in. She started as heel and turned babyface. It was successful. She had really good matches. Stop your fucking belly aching. Do fucking better.
yeah, right. Like she got everything and more than you could hope for her to have out of that. She's a bona fide star now. You've got years and years of matches that you can still get out of her now.
She's only 25.
Like, come on.
Like,
How long did you really want her first title reign to last? Like,
yeah, well, you got to build towards something. Like, and the women's rumble, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's still going to be Liv Morgan coming back from injury. And there's going to be something there, some storyline with Liv and um, I'm Liv versus Stephanie could be really interesting. I don't think Stephanie Becker is going to hold the world title all the way till Mania. I think it's going to be either Roxanne or Raquel that wins it. And I think it would be really compelling to have it be Roxanne that wins the women's title, and then have Liv go on a revenge tour against Judgment Day, and have be what brings the group down.
I actually could see really easily Liv reuniting with Rhea. To
That's what I was thinking. Is like having Liv and Rhea, maybe at Mania, you could have them tag against Roxanne and Raquel, or have it be like Rhea makes the save to even the odds. Um, there's a lot of ways you can go with that. I think we're getting Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair at Mania. That's a fucking money match. Is Jade versus Bianca or
Mhm.
Jade versus Rhea? Those are the two big money matches. Jade versus Charlotte could be a thing too,
That could happen. I could see that happen.
and I could see that being a thing. And Charlotte's been putting over some of these younger girls for a while now too. Uh, Dominic defeated Rusev and Penta. He cheated to win. It was beautiful. It was the best match of the night, in my opinion. And then finally, main event.
Nothing
CM
happened.
Punk. CM Punk defeated Jey Uso in the main event for the vacant world title. This was by far the worst match of the night, in my opinion, and it was not of any fault of CM Punk's. I I've seen rumors circulating online that Jay was allegedly under the influence, basically pulling a Jeff Hardy from Victoria Road. I don't think he was under the influence. I think I think he gets nervous in these big moments, and I think it affects his performance.
I think that he's been kind of pushed a little too hard, too far, too fast.
I think they should have put another year into him before
Yeah.
having him win the world title.
You could. Well, he had that Intercontinental title win.
But he only held it for 2 months.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, it almost felt like a waste.
It was an afterthought, yeah.
And like,
Kind of like
I
his world title
I
run.
really thought like that was an opportunity right there to like both build him and the IC title to really just take it on a tear.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Well,
defend this every week, and I'm going to do that. And
yeah. Well, I think that honestly, this whole mega push to him the world title, having him win the Rumble, having him win the world title at Mania, then losing it back 59 days later, I think it exposed him. And he has himself said, "I'm out to prove people wrong that I'm more than an entrance." Well, your performance hasn't proven that, and their booking hasn't proven that. And I don't blame Jay. I'd be frustrated too if I'm trying to make chicken shit out of chicken salad, or chicken salad out of chicken shit. But
no, you said it right the first time.
I don't know. I've been up since 4 a.m. But it still doesn't excuse the consistent bad performances. And a lot of people were giving shit to about the Jimmy and Jey Uso Mania match, and giving Jimmy a lot of shit for that match. But I'm starting to notice a common denominator, and it's Jay. No disrespect.
Jay,
I'm
I
I'm
think
wearing the Yeet shirt for a reason. I love Jey Uso as a character.
I think legitimately it's a situation where he got over, with the catchphrase and with the audience and everything. And I think that all really happened leading up to the SummerSlam match against Roman.
Hmm.
And I don't think that momentum ever really died down after that. But it needs to be more than just a catchphrase momentum. And that's what it feels like. It still feels like it's just catchphrase momentum. And I think that's why when you look at the YouTube clips of Jey Uso's big moments, like him winning the Royal Rumble, him winning the championship, that kind of stuff, I think that's when it really shows that Jay is not the guy.
At least not yet. And
You
he's
can't build it. You can't build credibility off of a catchphrase. You need to build it off of your in-ring
well,
ability
he has the in-ring ability. It's
to
just
a degree, but he doesn't have
the moveset is what hurts him.
the move set. But I also think there's a certain amount of like feeding off of the audience, and I think what is happening. I really, really believe this. I think Jey Uso spent so much time as a tag team wrestler. Okay, and you there are different beats in a singles match than there are in a tag team match. And when you're used to feeding off of the beats of a tag team match, um, and then you get put into a singles career, ha- there's a shift that needs to happen. And I don't think that happened with Jay. I think that's a sink or swim for a lot of guys who go from singles to or from tag team to
Hmm.
singles. And for some, you're successful with it, and some you're not. Like I'm not, I'm not trying to down either of these guys. I love the Dudleys. Like the Dudleys, I think are one of the best tag teams of all time. But if you break them down as singles wrestlers, Bubba understood the singles beats of the match.
Devon didn't.
Ron didn't. That's not a knock on Devon. It's just like singles wrestling isn't where he excels. It's not that he can't have a good singles match. It's just not where he excels.
Sometimes some people get it, some people don't. That's just the nature of life. And like, Jay or Dan alluded to it in the comments. This was our next point. There was a botch in the match where there was a swinging neck breaker that Jay overturned on, and then Punk hit him with a stiff kick receipt. Um, I personally am not a fan of stiff kick receipts to the head. I think there's many other ways you could handle that. Um, I think Punk was just trying to like shake him and get him out of it so he could focus. I think he was anxious. I still think kicking somebody in the head and especially in the day and age when we know what CTE is a little reckless. Um, it wasn't
You know,
undeserved, but
I
still.
think I think if you need to slow somebody down, honestly, I think the best thing you can do is an open palm slap.
Yep. Open palm slap, or hell, from what I've heard, Hogan, when he needed somebody to slow people down, that's when he would start raking the back in the NWO days. If you
Hmm,
remember, he would do that a lot. That was because the person he was working with was working a little too fast. They needed to stretch it out before they could go home.
interesting. I hadn't heard that before. I can see that, but also I'm not a fan of a baby. Well, I mean, in the
He
NWO
was a
days,
heel. He was a
it,
heel at that point.
but let's be realistic. Hogan was doing that back when he was a baby face working in the 80s. He always wrestled like a heel. Hogan literally always wrestled like a heel.
Remember, what was it, episode 5 or 6, where I literally called it? I was like, Hogan's always been a heel. Prove me wrong. Like, baby
Uh,
faces don't poke the eyes. Anyways, overall, I would give this pay-per-view probably a C minus. In terms of just quality, like that's a high mark. C.
Yeah, I was not impressed, but I hope the people that did pay and went to the show, all 6 of them, had a great time.
Now, before we jump into AEW with our top 5, there, another word from our other sponsor.
When your day's been long and your face feels brisk, sir, never forget to wipe your whiskers. A dab, a swipe, you're fresh and bright. Whiskers wipes make everything right.
Rip a whiskers wipe,
To wipe,
they're rough and nice.
to wipe, never forget to wipe.
Never forget to
Catch-
wipe.
No, double tap.
Go with that. Get both sides.
Yeah.
Wipe twice.
But yeah, special thanks to CJ Willett, aka Chris Chaos, aka Ufel Thorson, being a good sport with the Whiskers Wipes ads returning. You know, we got other things in store that'll make you HARD. Anyways, AEW, there's been a lot going on with AEW. I've been paying attention on and off when I can. I've been really busy the last couple weeks, but we're still in the midst of Samoa Joe and Hangman. Samoa Joe picked up a win in a Fatal 4-Way. There was a stiff receipt in that match when Hook did. I forget if Hook overshot a punch and it hit Joe a little stiff, but Joe brought him back into the ring and basically knocked him down. Kind of as a hey, calm down. We saw FTR getting back in the tag title picture. We've seen the Hurt Syndicate become baby faces. It's been really weird. They're not really what I'd envision as a babyface group.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I just don't want to have Smiling Bob.
Railed so hardcore from what I liked about them. It's
Yeah, as long as I'm okay with it, as long as I don't end up with Smiling Bob again. Anytime I mention Smiling Bob, Brian gets angry. I did really like the tension with the Callis family between Okada and Takeshita. I think that's going to lead to Okada costing Takeshita the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship, and setting up a AEW match for the Intercontinental Combined title, which don't get me started on why that's still a fucking thing. Mercedes Moné, she's been killing it again on the indies, racking up more titles. I'm not a fan. Everybody knows that. I'm not really going to go in on and on her at this point. I am really excited that we're getting both a men's and a women's blood and gut match November 12th in Greensboro. Penelope Ford is out injured. They're going to have Marina Shafir replace her, so the heel women's team is looking pretty dangerous. And I'm pretty sure for the men's one, we're getting Death Riders versus the Conglomeration. And it goes back to my point from 2 weeks ago. Stop naming your fucking factions from ChatGPT, you fucking idiots. Sorry, I got a little animated there, guys. It just really bugs me.
Daniel was giving them their names.
Chat's got a little more creativity.
You know what? I'm just in case Dan's giving them their names, I'm just gonna go ahead and dock him like 50 more gold stars.
Make that 100. And then, yeah, it's been a really interesting time in wrestling. We've only got one wrestling topic for the night. WWE, they're hemorrhaging audience shares. SmackDown this last week barely broke 4,200 in attendance, which I believe they were in San Jose. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true, Dan. What the fuck? WWE barely hitting 4,200? I'm shocked, too.
Yeah.
I'm not honestly that shocked given the fact that the booking is predictable. It's overly expensive just to attend a show. Today, Brian, I just sent you ticket prices. They're having a show here in Michigan right before Christmas, and it's $69 for nosebleed seats right now. So that's not too bad.
Not horrible, but still,
It's
with
a
the state of the
SmackDown.
economy going into the holidays and everything, it,
You should be offering $30, $40, $50 tickets.
well, and there's still nosebleed seats. I'm trying to give it some level of credibility because it is a SmackDown. It's not just a house show. But
They don't do house shows anymore, so
realistically, that's still more than I used to pay for pay-per-view seats.
not
Like
wrong.
decent pay-per-view
Well,
seats.
I think it's a symptom of a larger problem. I think it's there's a lot of problems with how WWE is handling things. There's been they're being boycotted by a section of their fans because of TKO's business practices, prioritizing profit over people, in terms of charging their fans too much, how they've handled talent, all that stuff with Rich Holland. They're hemorrhaging audience shares. Right now, if you want to be able to watch all of WWE products in the United States, you need a Netflix subscription, you need a Disney Plus ESPN Go subscription, and you need to pay for the ESPN Plus PLE program. You also need to have access to the USA Network and the CW Network to get NXT. That is so many steps, like so many steps, and it's way too expensive. I think when we looked at the cost, it was $295 a year basically to access it just through the app, not adding in the PLE cost, which is going to be $30, $50.
It really, I gotta say, it doesn't make sense to me. Like I understand the concept of having your shows like scattered all over the place so that lots of people can get into the product from here, from here, from here, from here. But at the same time, it just makes more sense to have somewhere where I can go and I can just go to one location and watch all of my WWE programming. In
International,
full.
internationally, it's all on Netflix. Oh, not oh, you also need a Peacock subscription too. But internationally, it's all on Netflix. Like we as the consumers here in the USA are being taken advantage of. Full stop. Here's a prime example. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. This is December 13th, John Cena's final match, Washington, D.C. These are the ticket prices currently. You got nosebleed seats. Cheapest one is $381. You've got lower rung. Cheapest one is $506. You've got not front row seats, but kind of like that midsection where cheapest seat is $769 to $899. Front row seats, you're talking 1,000 plus. In this economy, are you fucking high? Like, I don't know about you guys, but there's been a ton of layoffs out there in the world. There's been a ton of, really challenging things going on socially, economically, politically that are complicating and compounding these things. And to me, this is kind of this is a symptom of the larger problem of TKO's policies of profit over people. And I think they're going to continue to hemorrhage the audience until they realize that they need to, they don't have to adopt all of Vince's old policies, but this is clearly what brought WWE to the dance. You shouldn't abandon it, and you shouldn't be making the WWE audience pay for your fuck ups with the UFC.
Well, it really makes no conceivable sense. If you go back and you listen to Eric Bischoff, Eric Bischoff, very profitable in the world of professional wrestling. He didn't make the money off of his ticket sales. Hell, numerous wrestling companies across the board have given away tickets for years because they understand it's more valuable to have the seats filled and to have that view of a full live audience than it is to to get the couple of bucks they're going to pay you. You get your real money off of advertising. You get your real money off of merchandise, not off of ticket sales. It's just stupid. I mean, and this isn't even something that's like a new or something that's a concept that isn't still being done today. You can, if you were to go to New York today and you want to see, Colbert live, or you want to see, Kimmel live, you don't pay for those tickets. You literally get online and you sign up and you get them for free.
Yeah. Well, there's more value in building the audience, retaining the audience. I think that they've lost the point, and it's sad. They have single-handedly opened the door to their competition, and they're gonna be the ruin of themselves. I'm a little worried that we're heading for a new generation 2.0.
I think we're already there. I really, really do. I think there are numerous problems, both, in front of the camera and behind it, that are starting to compound one after another, and it's leading to a really unenjoyable experience. And you and I both experienced it. Like, we're both wrestling fans, but it's not like either of us are super high on the product right now.
It leads us to, finding other avenues to entertain ourselves, things to talk about. Speaking of things to talk about, our other topic for the night.
And the one that I am way more excited about, dude, let's start nerding out. Let's get nerdy. Oh, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight our other main topic of the evening is we're going to start talking a little bit about comic books. And Evan and I have both been going absolutely wild for DC's Absolute Universe, and tonight we're going to be focusing on Absolute Batman. And just to give you, if you haven't been reading this series and don't understand what's going on, essentially, Darkseid, who's like the evil god, has infected the entire universe with Omega energy, with dark negative energy, and turned the entire universe all through time, all through the timeline, into this dark, twisted version of itself.
It's a parallel universe / Earth created because of his basically the negative Omega energy. He's picking and choosing what happens. It's all at Darkseid's whim. He's the one above all in this instance, basically. This whole storyline, for me, beyond just Batman, I mean, the DC Absolute Universe launched in 2024. It's been going for a little bit with, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman. Absolute Batman was the first in the line because Batman's just a compelling character. Absolute Flash, Absolute Green Lantern. There's various other characters within these, but the main 7 that you see from the Justice League, all rewritten at Darkseid's whim. And with Batman in particular, it's a far more dark and grounded story. It's socially focused. It's weird because Scott Snyder and team are doing a fantastic job. The big compelling difference, though, for me anyways, is Bruce Wayne isn't a billionaire. He's not from a rich family. He's a working class civil engineer. He builds his own gear from scraps. He's 6'8". He's this monster of a fucking man.
One of the things I think is so cool about him too, because he is a construction worker and he is more of a common man. A lot of the stuff that you would normally see Batman like build into his suits or into his tech, he actually builds into the city. He has like little things hidden freaking everywhere.
Well, and not having Alfred in the traditional sense, I think, is really interesting too. Funny enough, he's actually the second tallest in the big 3 in the Trinity. Wonder Woman's slightly taller than him. Superman's actually the shortest. It's really interesting to look at that. My personal favorite part of the whole story is the take on the villains. How they aren't just bad guys. They're Bruce's childhood friends that were corrupted. Like, Bane is involved. So Batman's a huge motherfucker. He's 6'8" in this. Bane is 3 times his size without the venom on. With the venom, he's like 20 feet tall. Like, he's an absolute monster, and Killer Croc is, he
Killer
works with
Croc,
Batman.
dude.
That
Killer
was,
Croc is straight nightmare fuel. When I
dude,
read that, the size of his mouth, I was just like, "Oh my god!"
yeah, like the nightmare fuel for me was the Riddler. How they did him. We're not going to give away too many spoilers just because we want you guys to go out and read this. It's odd for me. I've been a huge Marvel comics guy for such a long time, but DC's really drawn me back in the last couple of years. Mr. Freeze, that's nightmare. Honestly, all of them are nightmare fuel, and probably the biggest nightmare fuel is the Joker.
It's insane because DC did such a great job with the Batman who laughs, and now in like the most twisted take of the Joker, we have the Joker who doesn't laugh.
Mm-hmm. This is a serious Joker that is basically he's a psychotic monster.
Oh.
And Bruce is going to need therapy after all this shit. What's really compelling for me beyond just the villains is how the story is told. It's Bruce isn't really, he's not wealthy. He's fighting the corrupt elites because he's fighting against the wealthy. And in the more recent issues, if anybody's seen them, I posted some of them in the group and around my page. He actually takes on the KKK or their equivalent in Gotham when they're targeting civilians. And he not only straight up knees a Nazi in the face, he breaks his arm, and then he hits the leader with a one-winged angel a la Kenny Omega. Like, it's beautiful because fuck Nazis. But like the way that they're telling the story in such a grounded, gritty, dark way, and I know you're thinking, well, Batman's always dark and gritty. That's just kind of how they've had all the movies be. No, this is a darker take on the Nolan verse. Is sunshine and fucking rainbows compared to this.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. If the thing about the absolute universe is if something can go bad, it probably did, and probably did way worse than anything that you can think of. Even our heroes in the absolute universe are corrupted versions of themselves, still clinging to any bit of the slightest bit of light that we would normally see out of them. But every one of them is dark. I mean, just look at this Batman. You see that giant hammer he's carrying around. You think he's doing that? You don't carry around a big hammer like that unless you're going to crush some people's heads.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way they tell, how Batman takes on the corrupt elites, how he takes on his former friends. Oh, absolutely, I would. I want them to retain it. I want it to be, kind of take on the same tones as Peacemaker, which, by the way, if you haven't watched Peacemaker Season 1 and Season 2, do yourself a favor. Go watch those. They're so fucking good. And, like, Creature Commandos. Honestly, everything James Gunn has done since touching with DC has been really, really good. That's the best DC movie I've ever seen.
Oh, I love Superman so much. I mean, like,
because I don't want to see Superman as a gritty character. He's not a gritty character. He's sunshine and fucking rainbows from Kansas. He's the good guy. He's the ultimate fucking good guy. He's the big blue Boy Scout for a fucking reason.
I thought that the way that James Gunn did his Superman movie, I think it's all encapsulated how perfect it is in that opening scene. You get this 3,000, this timeline that they march through, And then 3 seconds ago, Superman lost his first fight and he comes crashing down into the snow. And you're just like, okay,
Yeah,
this
right out the gate.
isn't what we're used to.
And I think it's good. I think my favorite line in the whole movie revolve around, maybe it's punk rock to be like to love, basically, and to like to choose to love. I thought that was beautiful. And with the if they were to do the absolute universe and absolute Batman as Elseworlds, I'd be in theaters to see it. Like, I'm a big proponent of class, understanding the class system, the socioeconomic stuff, and this series does a really good job of that. Batman has always been a champion of the oppressed. The problem is, in the typical sense that we've seen him in comics, he's the oppressor also. He just happens to not be as bad. He's not. There's no such thing as a good billionaire. There's no ethical way to be a billionaire. Full stop. It's just not in. No, you can't be a good person to be a billionaire. They reframe the morality. Friends becoming enemies.
Dan, I see the stuff you're writing in chat, and I'm going to address this right now. Okay? I don't care if Zack Snyder made the movie. I don't care if James Gunn made the movie. I can look at different directors' versions of superheroes and things and appreciate them all individually. I'm not going to sit here and down on Christopher Nolan's version of Batman or Tim Burton's version of Batman. I'm not going to say that is a stupid debate, and all it does is create this tribalism, like civil war. Like, we can all find things that we enjoy about different things, and if you haven't realized, comics for the entirety of time have been drawn by different people with different art styles. And if you don't like this art style, well, you can look at this art style, but it doesn't make any of them bad. It just makes them different. If you don't like one, go read a different one. If you don't like this movie, go watch a different one. Stop trying to make it this tribalistic thing where your opinion is somehow the only one or the right one. You are allowed to like what you like. You are allowed to dislike what you dislike. I'm allowed to like what I like. I'm allowed to dislike what I dislike. I'm telling you right now, I like the Absolute series. That's why we're talking about it. Evan's really liking the Absolute series. That's why we're talking about it. Come on, man.
Sure,
let's talk about the positives in this world. Jeez.
Yeah, like, there's enough negativity in the world, and I'm quite frankly, I am so fucking tired of tribalism, especially dealing with wrestling. Like, leave it at the fucking door. You can critique something and it be valid, but come to the door with actual receipts with critiques, not just tribalism. I'm done with it. And then I really like how the incorporation of Gotham itself, how they're handling Arkham, and I do really like the fact that they made him an average, just a civil engineer, just a guy. He's not from a wealthy family. He's not connected to the Court of Owls, ancient fucking Gotham shit. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of the Court of Owls. I think that
okay. So the Court of Owls is one thing with the Absolute Universe that I'm kind of like wishing we'd see. We haven't really seen any Court of Owls stuff. And
I don't think we need it yet.
But I do think it would be cool, because I think you could actually go the complete opposite way with the Court of Owls in the Absolute Universe, where before we're in the regular universe, it's this group of
elites.
Yeah, thank you. Aristocrats was the word I was looking for. Who are like, Illuminati pulling the strings behind everything. I think it'd be cool in the Absolute Universe to find that the Court of Owls is like an underground resistance.
I think that would be a really interesting take on that. Make them be like, an underground resistance that stops at nothing. Kind of think of forgetting the name of them in the X-Men series, but they're the mutant. They don't like the mutants.
The Morlocks.
No, kind of. The humans, they don't like the They're a specific group name, and I'm
Oh,
blanking
Friends
on.
of Humanity.
Imagine Morlocks and Friends of Humanity into one. That's how I would pitch that.
Okay.
So I'm really, really digging this, and Absolute Superman's been a really, really big. We're not doing spoilers here, Dan. We want people to go read this stuff for themselves. Support your local comic book shops. You can also get it online through DC. Speaking of which, DC, if you want to drop us a link to have sponsor us,
We would definitely be down. Yeah, I'd take a DC sponsor. That'd be cool.
Hell yeah.
As far as talking about sponsors, let's talk about ours. You can get all your new gaming merchandise at duelingguard.com. Use the code SOG15 for 15% off all your gaming merch. You can get your deck boxes, your play mats, your binders. I've heard rumors they might be looking at getting dice. Which
Yep.
I'd be down for.
And they are running a special right now where if you buy 2 deck boxes, you get 1 free.
Woo!
With reduced pricing. And there's a lot of cool things coming up over the holiday season. You'll see me sharing the ads in the page. Duelingcard.com. Enter the code SOG15 for 15% off. All your gaming merchandise needs. Every dollar you spend with them to support them goes to support the pod. Honestly, Absolute Superman's been a joy. Absolute Wonder Woman. They've done some really good storytelling there with her being kind of, instead of being on Themyscira, she only lives in hell and she fights demons all day long, and there's just there's so many differences with how Darkseid's corrupted the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they're spinning the darker tones in a unique way.
The Absolute Flash series, I'll admit that I'm not real big on, but they are doing some interesting things more with the Flash's Rogues Gallery. So if you're a Flash fan, you can check that out. I'm a big Green Lantern fan, so I'm going nuts with the Absolute Green Lantern series, which they have a whole different emotional spectrum that they're working under, and all of this is ultimately going to be culminating with an event, DCKO, which we've gotten the first couple issues of. 3 issues we've gotten now.
I think 2 or 3, yeah.
2 or 3?
There's some pretty shocking shit in it. With deaths. There are character deaths. There are character resurrections. There are characters you never thought you'd see in DC Comics. Homelander. Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
All these interesting intertwined properties that they've had under their umbrella at some point. It'll be really interesting to see how these people and these characters interact, because it's a really unique way for them to get new readers and draw back in old readers. And props to DC for taking on a very risky thing, especially in an age where Marvel comics have been slipping. Right now for Marvel, I'm only really reading 3 storylines, where normally I'm reading 5 or 10.
What's got you on Marvel?
One World Under Doom.
I know we're both on One World Under Doom, because that's
the Godzilla destroys the Marvel universe. I'm a huge fan of the characters that destroy the Marvel universe or kills the Marvel universe series, because it's an interesting take on that character and the people in the universes. Punisher kills the Marvel universe, Deadpool kills the Marvel universe.
Sure,
The Thing is the next one they're doing. That'll be really interesting. I'm super into that.
Okay, I'll be down for reading that, because Ben Grimm does not seem like a big enough, threat. But then I wouldn't have thought, originally Deadpool would be either. So. And
then Godzilla versus Marvel Universe. My son and I have been reading that. It's really interesting what they're doing. I don't want to give away any spoilers. Let's just say Hulk's gonna super smash.
go ahead. Sorry.
So, and then X-Men: Age of Revelation. That's been a really good one.
That's the one I was literally just gonna say.
That one's been super, super good. Honestly, the last couple years of the X-Men storyline has been really, really rough. They've kind of fucked up Beast as a character. They've turned him into a villain. Now he's a good guy, but like there's I wasn't a big fan of the whole Krakoa nation storyline where they created their own planet and their own nation and they're basically all immortal and shit like that. Like I felt like it undermines a lot of the characters.
See,
And
I didn't like a lot of the Krakoa stuff, but at the same time, I actually was a big fan of the Age of Sinister, which I know a lot of people weren't.
that's fair.
I thought, but then I'm a big Mister Sinister fan. Like as far we all have our certain villains that we really like. So any story where you're gonna hyper focus on that villain is naturally going to be a story that you're going to gravitate to.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember the name of the Daredevil book I was reading earlier today. I'm blanking on it, but Daredevil's been a really compelling character lately. And then Spider-Man. They recently revealed that, at least in the current storyline, that Wolverine was responsible for killing Peter's parents in the past.
Oh wow!
While he was under mind control. So it'll be really interesting. I need to catch back up on that, but
see, I've been reading. Have you been reading any of the Ultimates?
That's on my to-do list. So I like the Ultimate storyline. I started reading it. You mean when we met, I was literally reading Ultimate Wolverine, I think 5, or Ultimate X-Men 5 in the comic book shop that morning, waiting for the tournament to begin. So I've been following that for a long time. It's just it's hard for me when they keep killing that particular universe every so often. Like
so, the whole idea with the Ultimates is that the Maker, who is an evil version of Reed Richards, for those of you watching, basically found this one universe that's very, very, very close to the 616, and he has gone through and specifically started making changes throughout time to kind of like how in the MCU the Kang made the sacred timeline just how he wanted it. The Maker has kind of made this timeline just how he wanted it by doing things like making sure that Peter didn't get bitten by the spider and making sure that different superheroes didn't become the heroes they were. One of the really twisted things that he actually does is he turns that universe's version of Reed Richards into that universe's version of Doctor Doom.
That's honestly far more compelling than having Tony Stark secretly be Doctor Doom the entire time. Like I'm not super looking forward to Avengers Doomsday, and it hurts me to say that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've got hopes that they're gonna find something interesting to do with that.
Yeah, I just hope it's not super lazy. Like
the big thing with the Ultimates universe, where it's all building up to, though, is at this point the Maker has been trapped inside kind of this bubble that has like a city in it. It's time dilated on a different level, and he's moving at a different speed, and this shit's gonna open up in a matter of months. And they've been doing like a real time, like every issue you get, it says like 6 months until this opens. It's 6 months in real time, and so we've been doing like this real countdown as we've been reading the comics, and we're getting close now. So it's kind of
I'll have to check that out. One World Under Doom's just been utterly fantastic from a storytelling.
Oh my god, that's probably the best. I think we can both agree that's the best thing in Marvel right now.
That is the best thing in Marvel right now. That and Deadpool and the X-Men Age of Revelations have been the best. Daredevil Born Again, that's the one I was thinking of. That's been pretty good. There's some good stuff in Marvel, but like the sales just aren't what they were. I think they've oversaturated their market. But yeah, One World Under Doom is by far the best thing. And I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody. I don't know if you've read the most recent issue.
I have not. I haven't read the most recent issue because it just came out. but to give anyone who does want to get into this series, One World Under Doom, basic concept: Doom becomes the Sorcerer Supreme,
Basically, yeah. So Stephen
and
Strange sacrifices himself to save the world, and that's how Doom becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. Like they work together.
And he takes over the world.
Yeah, and the interesting part, without giving away too much spoilers, is it isn't what you think it would be. People aren't up in arms.
They're
There's
cool
no
with it.
crime, there's no poverty, you don't have to worry about starvation. Doom cares for all.
Yeah, there's no actually.
It's a paradise.
It's a really good. Well, or is it?
Hmm. Well, and the funniest part to me is how the heroes handle this all, because the heroes expected the people to rally behind them. People don't. That's the funniest part to me.
I can see Dan spouting off in the comments with all his MCU theories about Doctor Doom and Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark.
I saw that same theory on TikTok a month ago, Dan.
As we get, Dan, I will say, as we get closer to Avengers Doomsday coming out with the new format of the show, I can pretty much guarantee you we will be doing an episode on Avengers Doomsday on the MCU. Spoilers.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week. As far as upcoming projects, still working on that Value Vintage Magic the Gathering premiere. I'm going to try to record a deck tech for that and a general premiere. I've gotten a pretty good feel for the format. It's by far and away the most fun I've had playing card games in a long time. Think playing, it's like kitchen table Magic meets, playing vintage old school. There are tons of fun combos. You're not restricted with what you can do outside of what is banned in vintage or restricted in vintage. Beyond that, your budget's $30. It's super fun.
No. Honestly, Evan, I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. I've done some Pokemon stuff. I played Magic a little bit, but I've always been kind of worried about Magic because there's so much history and so many cards that I worry about getting into it. But that format that you're talking about, and we've been talking a little bit, I'm kind of looking at getting in. I kind of want to play with you.
Well, maybe what we'll have to do is once you get a deck, we'll set up a recording thing and we can record some games. If anybody wants,
I'm gonna get this right. Anyone who knows my skill, Evan, if we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I can keep up with Evan, but with Magic, no.
Well, it'll be a learning thing too, because we'll be teaching our audience. But there's a huge Discord community. There's tournaments literally almost every day of the week. Sometimes they're online. You can run them through Cockatrice or through Magic Online. All the deck lists are ran through a thing called moxfield.com where your budget's set. It basically tells you what your deck's budget would be. And, if you have a super shiny version of it that you want to use that's more expensive, it just counts the lowest price. It doesn't count you can still use your super shiny versions. It's just super cool, and it's been a lot of fun to talk to people and teach people. I find I'm learning something new about it every single day. And it reminds me of Magic, how I learned how to play it back in the 90s, and that nostalgic feeling.
See, I think that's awesome because I think that's really what a lot of us are looking for in our games is kind of that nostalgic feel, that feeling that we had back in the day when we got into playing them. I know that's constantly the feeling that I'm looking for when I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh is that I want that 2005 kind of feel, not
that's kind of what this reminds me of. It's obviously there's some new school stuff that's more powerful and there's things you can do, but nothing is absurdly broken to the point where everybody's playing it. Any deck can win any event. It's you don't have to worry about somebody cracking a Black Lotus on you. But yeah, and then I'll be working on some more Pokemon Pocket TCG. New set just dropped this past week, so I've been gathering up cards to try to do some more deck profiles and do some streams. So yeah, it's just been really fun with that.
On my side, we've been going hardcore with the new Dungeons and Dragons content. We just got our newest edited session 2 up onto the YouTube page, so go ahead and check that out. Things are getting good, man. I'm really looking forward to next week when we go live. I've been like, I've been shaking. I've been so excited.
Session 3 is going to be really dope. We'll see what happens. Currently, my character has Yubel Thorson carried over his shoulders. And then you're playing poker, kind of a version of poker.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a bit of a high stakes card game situation at the moment.
Against a cat man.
A cat pirate, man.
Cat pirate, yeah. But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun doing the D&D stuff. We're looking at ways to explore content. If you're interested in learning about D&D, check out our series of what we're doing. There's also tutorials out there. If I felt more confident, I would do tutorials myself. But I'm sure Carlon probably has some guides and advice that he can provide to people if they're ever so curious.
Yeah, I was actually looking at and talking about potential projects out there. I've talked to a couple people. I'm looking at potentially starting an additional little role play game on the channel for some newer people, running that a little bit differently. So this is the first. I'm just kind of tossing this out there, even at you, I know, but that is potentially on the horizon. Who knows what's on the horizon? All bright things on the horizon. Video game content, Dungeons and Dragons, comic books, nerd news.
Nerd news, breaking news. We'll end it on a question to you guys. What kind of nerd topics would you like to see us discuss? It can be pretty much anything. If we haven't seen it, we'll go try to watch it. If it's something we can't, then we'll do our best to give an opinion on what we can. We're super excited about this. We hope you're super excited. And as always, make sure you go to duelingguard.com, enter the code SOG to get your 15% off. Helping them helps the pod. Have a good night, guys.
See you next time. Good night, everybody.